Hello, people. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We'll get started in a little bit here. I'll wait till some people pop in. There's one person there. We're going to give this about 30 seconds, and then I'll start. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. All right. Just give it a couple minutes yet, and we'll get it all going here. Hang on. We got up to 9 people already. Okay, good. Good. Hello, Jane. Hello, Jack. All right. Welcome back to the Carver's Woodshop, folks. This is Arlene, and we're going to do the bald-headed Santa, and we'll see how it goes. It's been a long time since I've done one, maybe a year or so. And hello, Ruthie and Lori and Jody and Allison. It keeps adding. Okay. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do this little guy here. Now, this little guy here, why is that not focusing? There we go. This little guy here has been one of an idea that I had from one of my other carvings, and to make it just the head portion. I marked off some of this to save a little bit of time, but I'm going to try to remember how I did this. I think this one's been at least a year or two since I've done one of these. So you want to make sure you've got your glove on and your thumb guards on, and your knife is nice and sharp, and we'll start here. So what we're going to do now, hang on just a second. Let me go run for the bigger one here. Hang on. Now this Santa head, I'm just telling you, this Santa head can be made any size as long as it's square. Okay, here's Big Papa. I'll call him Big Papa. Hello, April. I can see the comments today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But we're going to do the small one because we're doing everything from the 2.5 by 1.5 by 1.5 square. So this is the same ornament series we have been working on for a while. I know last week I didn't have anything planned, and I really didn't have anything planned this week either, but I decided to, somebody asked about this, and I thought this might be a fun one to do. So here we go. What you want to do is you want to mark off where the ears are first, okay? If the ears are marked off first, that's where we start, because we're going to work into the head first, because we want those ears to pop out, just like here, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your knife, you're going to mark it, I would say about 3. How we measure this real quick. Usually if you feel the bottom of your ear and you go straight across, it comes to the bottom of your nose, usually. Okay, I'm not saying everybody will have that, but if you run your finger straight across your face, it should hit your nose. And once you hit your nose, so you know that this portion is going to be almost the bottom of the nose. This one will be probably the middle, the top part of your, well, mine is actually on my eyebrow, okay? But since this is a caricature, we're not going to make it exactly what it should be if you did it realistically. So, thank you, Lee. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to just put maybe 3/4 of an inch down. I put a little line, and then I put another little line. Okay, so maybe an inch from here, 3/4, that makes sense. And then 1/4 of an inch there in the center. All right. So, and the same thing here. We're going to go down 3/4. So what I do, it's really hard to get both sides to match up correctly. So I use that little secret of holding my finger on my piece, right? And then taking the mark where it is. And then I go to the other side and I mark it the same way by leaning this down. And I do the same thing for the bottom one. I'll go measure it this way. And then I'll lean it again and I'll measure it again. And there you go. Okay, so it might look a little off when you first start, but you can always see now it does look a little off. I don't always understand that, but it does. But you can adjust it. So if you make the ear a little bit bigger, you can, when you look at it from the front later on, you can adjust that. The hardest part for me and any carver is to try to match one side to the other. So hello Warren and Al, welcome to the class. All right, so we're going to take our knife first, and we're going to just go straight in. I'm going to go a little bit above that line, okay, just to give me a little leeway. And we're going to come down. And we're going to take that corner off. All right, we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. I'm going to go a little higher than what I marked off there. And we're going to... You want to try to go straight in, okay? Not down like this. You want to go straight in. So, I hope everybody's had a good Thanksgiving up there in Canada. I know you guys had a Thanksgiving just yesterday. It kind of looks like an elf already, but that's not what I'm going for. So, and then we're going to do the bottom one, okay? We're going to go down, and we're going to cut the bottom out. So, I know all my family and a lot of my friends up north in Canada had their Thanksgiving, so that was good. Ours is not for a little while yet. We have to get through our election first, and then we'll have Thanksgiving. Get that out of the way. All right, so you notice it looks different. This one looks lower than this one, right? So what I do is I go over here and I just chop a little piece off. I never get it right the first time. So if it doesn't work right away for you, do not be discouraged by it, because now that looks even. This looks a little off, maybe a little bit too high here, so I'm going to trim a little bit of that off. And so that's how I do that portion. So while I'm at it, it's rounded off, okay? It's just rounded off, so it's not a big deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start rounding his head off from the side. Now, I like going across like this, all right? I'll do the same thing to the other side. And a lot more will come off yet. This is just the beginning. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut right here where the eyebrow, right here is where we're going to start. And we're going to bring down. As you can see, I already have that drawn in there. And this is drawn a little differently. What you want to do is you want to bring this down and around to the nose. So I put the nose in already. So the nose is really, remember I said if you take your hand across your ear to your nose, it's almost to the bottom of the nose. All right, so I'm just doing and it can be a little off. It doesn't have to be 100% correct, but somewhere in that. Hello, Bob. Somewhere in this area. All right, so what you want to do is you want to make the nose nice and fat. You don't want a skinny nose on these things. I always said the cute factor is fat and short, stubby. Big eyes is usually you have a cuter face. All right, so I drew this out ahead of time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the eyebrows first. And then let me bring this, well, let me do that first. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go straight in, okay? And we're going to just kind of knock that out a little bit. And you can do that a little bit at an angle, okay? You don't have to do it straight in. Hello, John. And, okay. So here, again, you're going to take a little bit off of there. And you're going to start rounding off the top of the head. I should have got a softer piece of wood. It's not as soft as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's my knife. Let me try another one. You never know. Oh yeah, it's the knife. Okay. It really does make a difference what knife you use. Alright, so we're going to go across. And I'm going to, alright, just like so. Alright. So now I'm going to do the bottom part of the nose first. I'm not going to worry about this yet. I'm going to do the bottom part of the nose. So the nose, I go from here, I take a little bit at an angle. Alright, so let's take it a little bit. And you notice I put my force with my thumb. I don't use my hand. I use my thumb and I rock it a little bit. And I can get it in there pretty good. Alright, and we're just going to pop that out a little bit. There we go. There we go. Alright. So, of course, this is going to be deeper as we go here. So, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my little V-tool just to make it a little easier. And I'm going to use my V-tool and I'm going to follow this line. Now, I do want to make that finish off this portion. So, let's just go from here. This is the cheek. Alright. Now I measure that again with my finger. I go to the other side. Yes. No, it's, Bob, the size of the block is 2.5 by 1.5 by 1.5. Alright. I usually state it in the beginning of a video. So what I want to do is mark this, mark where the bottom part of this is, so I can kind of follow this so it looks basically the same. Which it does. Wow. Well, that's a little lower. Let's bring this one. You know, you can adjust it a little bit. So we're going to do this first. Then we're going to do around the nose. And we'll take it from there. Hello, Lois. We got a good crowd tonight, folks. Good crowd. Alright, so we're going to take our little V-tool. And we're going to just follow this out from the top. And we're just going to bring it down. Like so. Alright, and the same thing here. I'm going to just take it from here and go up to the eye. Now you can do this with a knife if you want. You don't have to use, let me do this back here just to make it a little easier for me. You can use a knife if you want, and we will end up using a knife because it has to be a lot deeper. But we're just getting an idea where this is going to be here. So we're just going to follow this out a little bit more on both sides. I'm going to follow that. You can go not straight in, but, you know, just a little bit more. We're going to, whoops. I have a tough time with this piece of wood. I don't know what. Okay, there we go. So, I'm going to round this off a little bit. Alright, now, I'm going to put this back one. And let me see if we can cut this out a little bit. There we go. Remember, your deepest spot with this eye, or this area, is going to be right there. Okay, right there is your deepest spot. So then that will make everything pop out. Yes, this is an older piece. I just pulled it out of the box. I didn't want to run back to the barn. Somebody asked if this is a block I'm using, one that I have on my website. This is an older style that I had laying around. I thought I'll just use it, but it's a little tougher than I thought. Which, you know, it's okay. I sprayed it up a little bit and all that. So, yes, I sprayed it before doing it. And I think I'll do that again. Hang on just a second. Let's just... Sometimes it depends on the wood. This wood, I don't know. Yes, I just sprayed it, Linda. Thank you. See how grainy it is? Sometimes if it's super grainy, it can be a little tougher. But I think this is from an old... You know, and the longer it sits, sometimes it can get harder for you as well. So, you know, that's all, you know, that's all part of it. Wood's not always the same when you get it. and stuff. So we did that side. Let's do this side over here. Okay. I'm going to put those lines back in real quick. And we'll see if we can get them to match a little bit. Because you want it to flare out in the middle here. Let me see if I can redo that. There we go. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your knife. You're going to go right down where you drew your... And you go straight in. Okay, you're not going to go from side to side. You go straight in. And you're going to follow that all the way out and flare it out. And you're going to pop that out. I made it a little bit nicer to make it a little bit wet. That certainly helps it. And we're going to go right like so. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Let me do it back here for a second. It's just a little easier for me to look at it and match it up a little bit. Okay. So, what you want to do is the same thing to the other side. You want to okay, so I'm going to continue digging down a little ways and get that side of that nose done a little bit more. Okay. Gonna take some of this off again. All right. All right. Yeah, I find too it's very hard to match this nose from one side to the other. So it does take a little time to adjust your piece, you know, when you're carving. But the deepest part is right here, folks. Okay, that's your deepest part. And I don't have it flaring out as much on that side. Let me try something here. Hang on just a second. Because I don't have it going in far enough either. There we go. I took a little bit out right here to make this stick out a little bit more. Okay, so let me just bring this down a little bit. If you don't have the right wood and the right tools, it can be a little bit frustrating to carve. And that's the last thing you want, is to be frustrated when you're carving. I'm using a old... Somebody asked what pocket knife I was using. I am using an older, I'm trying to think what the name of it is now, Rough Rider knife. And I revamped these on my own. But when I tell people to carve, I usually suggest using a Murphy knife. And a Murphy knife is very handy to use. And I don't know what happened to my Murphy knife. Honestly, I wasn't drinking tonight, but but anyway. All right, so that's how far we are at right now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to finish this portion right here. All right, and we're going to then bring this down and around. We'll worry about the ears a little bit later. Think here. Okay, so let me get my little V tool. I'm going to follow this line that I did before. Let me redo it because I got rid of some of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of draw the rest of this on, because that will give me a better idea where things go. So right here, this comes out right at the side. And say the mouth is right there. So we're going to bring this down and around. All right. And we're going to measure the bottom of the mustache. And we're going to bring this down and around. And go up. Okay, now you see what... And so this portion here is going to be the beard. Up here will be the eyebrow. You'll see it come together in just a little bit here. So we're going to do this section here. So we're going to keep following that line. If I can do that, we're going to keep following that line and come up to the bottom of the nose. Okay, I'm not going to pull it out. I'm going to take my knife. You never want to pull out a piece of the wood because you never know what you're going to tear out if you do it that way. Alright, so there's one cheek. Oh, there's a lot more carving to do, folks. This is just maybe 1/3 of the way through it, or 1/4. Okay, alright. And then we're going to bring this down a little bit. And we're going to bring this down. Okay, just like so. We're going to bring this down and around on each side. We're going to start shaping the head a little bit. How far would you say that you cut in for the ears? It's about 1/4 of an inch. Oh, you mean in? Probably 2/8. Well, it's 2/8. 1/4 of an inch in, probably. You don't want to go too far, because if you do, you're going to ruin this portion where the beard is supposed to come around. Okay, so, you know, try not to go too far on the bottom when you do it. Alright, so, anyway. Okay, now back here, I'm just going to start rounding things off a little bit. And I jump all over the place with this, folks. I don't stick to one thing. I just start, you know, moving things around. And I'm going to cut this stuff off at the top. Now I'm going to bring this down even more because he looks kind of blocky, like he's got a helmet on. And I don't really want to do that. Hello, Justin. And yes, I am drinking hot cocoa. It's better weather for it lately. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. Just to bring down his head a little bit more. And it will look that way, too, when you start making him into a balded-headed guy here. So, I don't think I have any DVDs on this particular piece yet. So, I'm way behind on the DVDs, folks. I've been so busy the last couple of weeks with things around the farm had to be done. And I just was running out of time for things. Cleaning things up outside, and I got a lot of milling in, so I was moving that around for the driveway. So that looks a little better. Alright, so now we're gonna just go over here so we know where we're at. We're gonna make sure we know where the center is here. And we're just gonna put like a V cut right in where his mouth should be. So I like to lean it against the table when I do that so I can put a little more pressure on it. But, you know, then you sweep it out like a little triangular cut. And then you can do it again a little bit deeper. Whenever you're going to put a lot of force on it and use your hand, which I don't always recommend, usually use your thumbs for something like this, make sure you put it on something solid. And keep your fingers away from it in case it slips. Have your glove on if you have one. Especially if you're a beginner, you want to put your glove on. Okay, so that's pretty good right there. Okay, so we're going to go up here and we're going to follow this out again. Just to follow it. There we go. And we're going to dig down. We're going to make that cheek a little more rounder. This is where kind of relief carving comes into play because when you... Hello, Jim and Beth. I'm glad you could join us. Whenever you make a deep cut, it will make it pop out better. See the difference? If you just left it like that and just round it a little bit, you're not going to get that depth to it to make it look more round. So that's the one thing you want with these guys. You want little fat cheeks on them, okay? If you can do that. Okay, somebody asked about any planned events. Okay, everything that was in the wood carving world has been canceled. Even for next year, March, our Lancaster show has been canceled. Just to tell you, I'm not comfortable having people come into my shop here at the farm because that trailer is so small. So I have a pop-up camper that I use for outdoor shows, and I'm going to put a canopy over the top of the front part of that. I need to go buy the canopy yet. So I will have an outdoor setup for Christmas this year. And I'll have a Mr. Buddy heater. I think I'll have it right against the door so I can open the door and go inside if I'm really cold. Some people are ordering stuff already. I don't have a whole lot this year because of how everything going on here at the farm. And, since my mom's passing, I was very busy moving and trying to sell my house, and all that stuff has really consumed a lot of my time. So, and just getting things organized here. Now we're doing the other one, the other side. So right here where this meets, so I will have things for sale. I might do some online. I'm not sure how to do that yet, or what platform I want to use. But if people want to order stuff, they certainly can call me or text me for a price. The V-tool that I'm using, Carol, it is a 3.5 V-tool. Okay, that's what I use. That is what I use. Okay, so now that face is pretty well where I want it to be. So I'm going to start rounding it off the mustache a little bit. I'm going to sweep this nose out. I don't like it flat. I like a little bit of a curvature. Okay, a little bit of a curvature when I do it. And I may have to tweak this a little bit, meaning going a little deeper here again, just a little bit, right where the eyeballs and those meet. And I'm going a little deeper. A lot of the Lancaster show decided to not have it next year because of the uncertainty of our venue, where we could get it. Whether the college would be open or not, or the university would be open where we normally have it. And so they decided to not go ahead with it. They did have the Hay Creek show this past week, but I just didn't feel comfortable with that yet. I think it's a little too soon to get big crowds together. And, I'm trying to be very careful. And I hope everybody's trying to be careful. It is rising here in Pennsylvania again. I know Lancaster said they were rising. I know Westchester in Chester County, it was rising. And they put some restrictions for the COVID. So I think we have a long winter ahead of us, folks. I really do. I think we'll have a few more of these classes to keep us occupied, hopefully, for the winter. And once winter hits, I'll be a little more relaxed. As long as I don't have a snowstorm, I don't have to plow. I can focus a little more on my carving and get ready for the following year. That's what I'm planning on doing. So there is the face. You see how it's coming together. Now, we're going to do this portion first, the mustache, and then we'll worry about how to do the bald-headed area. All right, so let's take our little V-tool again, and we're going to follow it from where we start at the mouth, and we're going to go straight around. I know Holland is getting hit pretty hard with the COVID as well, so my family's either in Holland or they're in Canada. The Netherlands are in Canada, not New Holland, PA. We're talking about across the pond here. And I know they just said today they were under some restrictions for 4 weeks. So, yeah, we'll see. Oh, you're welcome, Linda. I don't mind doing this. I don't know if I'll do it every week. I'm planning on it, but I have to have, after doing about 150 different projects, I'm kind of running out of ideas to what to do for you folks. What we could do. We'll do a couple other Santas yet. Somebody asked me about doing things for Halloween, and I'm going to tell you I've never done anything for Halloween other than a pumpkin and a small black cat. I don't celebrate Halloween. Yes, I'll put this on. I'll put this on YouTube, no problem. Halloween in our faith, the Christian Reformed faith, we actually have a holiday called the Reformation Day, which is the 31st, which is All Saints Day. And if you look it up, if you're interested in seeing what that's about, you can look up Martin Luther, Martin Luther, and see what, or Reformation Day, and see what that was about. And the church still celebrates that today. I haven't been to a Christian Reformed church in a long while because we don't have many here in Pennsylvania. So we went to a Presbyterian church, and they recognize it, but not in the same way. But anyway, so that's why I don't do anything for Halloween. I don't do witches. I don't do goblins. I don't do ghosts or any of those figurines. But there are plenty of people on Facebook that, or not on Facebook, but on YouTube, if you would look it up. Dan Finley does some, Dan Finney, that from our carving club, he does some of that stuff. There's other people that do it. I know maybe Gene Musser does some. I don't know if he does it or not. But I'm not comfortable with it, so I just don't do it. And I've never done it. In the 30 years I've been carving, I've never done a witch or anything like that. So everybody has their own convictions, and that's one of mine. So I kind of stay away from that. All right? So anyway, we're going on with this. We're just going to... All right, so what you want to do is take all this rough stuff off, of course, because we're going to have to put the beard texture in a little bit later. All right, and there's a lot to do in these things. All right, there's a lot of texturing. So, okay, so let's go back. Let me see how I did this. Okay, so I'm going to round this off a little bit more in the back. I'm going to spray this again because this little puppy's a little harder than I thought. Now, when you spray this, what I'm using is rubbing alcohol, 70% strength with half and half with water, regular tap water. Some people use distilled. I don't, but it does make it a little bit easier to carve. So the next thing we're going to do is the back side. Okay, we're going to come down here, and we're just going to start rounding it off a little bit. And you'll see where this will all come into play in a little bit here. Better check my wood the next time I grab one out of a box. But you can still carve it, it just takes a little bit longer. Alright, so here we go. The ear. Okay, that's the next thing we're going to work on. So when I look at the ear, it looks like the letter C. Okay, a backward C, a forward C. So what I do is I take my finger and I just mark roughly how far I'm going to go back. And I do it in the middle. And then I just make a big old C. Just like so. Alright? And we're going to do the other side the same way. Alright. So, I use a knife for this one. So what you're going to do is you're going to go from the bottom here, you're going to go straight in. Okay? You're not going to go this way because you'll be cutting into the ear. You're going to go straight, just like with the nose, you're going to go straight in from the corner, directly in. Alright? And no, I don't have a video showing how to paint this carving, but I can certainly try to do that for you. Maybe we'll do that one evening. Alright? So once you have that done, you want to cut very carefully. You want to cut that out. Okay? Just like so. Alright? And you're going to do it again, Just make it a little bit deeper. You want that ear to pop out a little bit. Okay. All right. All right, so that is what we're going to do on both sides. Now, I don't do ears very often. Everybody has a different way of doing an ear. That's totally up to you and how you want to do it. Some have a real big earlobe on the bottom. You know, that's up to you. Okay, kind of where we're at with that. All right, so now what I do to the ear is kind of interesting. I decided to take the bigger one so I can show you more. I just scoop it out. All right, I just scoop it out. So what I do is I just, let me put a line here first. This is where, actually, this is what we want to do. And just put a little line across. Okay, I see I have a little bit more of a, not as much room over here. So it's going to be a little different from one side to the other. I didn't realize that. Alright, so I'm not going to change it now. It's fine. Alright, so what we're going to do is this. We have a little line here. So we're going to leave that there. And we're going to take our little knife and we're just going to start scooping. Now you want to be careful when you do this because you want to make sure you scoop it out. Not like that. And you can take a little bit off the top, but you want to make sure the bottom stays very much, there we go. Okay, just a little bit of a scoop on either ear. And you want to maybe go from one side to the other so you're not chipping it out. The more grainier it is, the more apt it is to chip on you. So you just want to take your time. I'm going to take that little corner off anyway. Alright. Okay. Alright, there's your ears. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put, see where that line is right here. It's a little triangular, and I cut up underneath there. Okay? Underneath there. Same thing here. I just go up a little ways and cut it out. Okay, you're going to do the same thing to the top. Going to take that little corner out. Exactly right. All right. Same thing over here. I'm going to take a little bit of that corner out. Okay, so now the ear looks more rounded. All right. Let me take this back here so I can just see it a little bit better and see how I have to tweak it a little bit. Okay. Now that we have that done, I'm going to put a little line right here, and we're going to carve right into that a little bit. So it separates the mustache and the beard. I'm going to see if I can do this. Let me get my... When you're ever working on a small, delicate place like that, you want to spray that and have the most sharpest knives that you can have. Now, I notice... Let me see if I have another sharper knife here, because I didn't have time to go over and... That isn't going to work. All right. I'm going to just bring this out a little bit more. Same thing here. I'm just going to kind of round that out a little bit more. And I'm going to add that too. I'm going to just put a stop cut right there. All right. And we're going to bring that ear right into that. Take that out. Okay, so you can see where the ear is separated now. It's like a little V-cut. All right, that's all you want to do. It's a little V-cut right there in the front of the ear. Now what I often do, and you don't have to, but you can, I take a little tool and I try to just hollow it out a little bit to give it a little bit more on the outside. Let me do it back here. I'll show you in a second. If I can get this to work right. If I was doing a regular video, I'd be changing my wood really quick. But I'm this far into it, I'm not going to do that. And it's usable, it's just, it's not the easiest to use tonight because I'm trying to hurry and I need to spend a little time with it. And so what I did was I tried to get a little bit of a rim on this side, okay? With my little tool, I just followed it out and kind of hollowed this portion out so there's a little bit of a ridge there going all the way down and around on the outside. And once I have that done, I'm going to do one ear and I'll do the other ear offline because it's going to take me a little more time than I like. Right here, what I normally do is now you can do it two ways. You can do it with a knife, which I'm going to probably do tonight. It's just a little easier. Or you can use a little tool and to make like a hole in your ear, in the ear. Just a little V cut there. And then if you want to, you can actually dig in a little bit to make it look like that. So that's how I do the ear. And like this here, if it's sticking out like that, I usually cut it back a little bit. And then right back here, I actually dig it deeper so the ear sticks out a little bit more. Okay, so that's how the ears are done. It's not real difficult to do the ears. It's just if the grain's going the right way, it shouldn't be that much of trouble to do it. But that's roughly what it looks like. All right, I'll clean that up a little bit later. I'll do this side a little bit later when I have more time, because I think this ear is a little bit smaller than this one, so I'm going to have to adjust it anyway. So, hang on just a second. My hot chocolate is now lukewarm. So, John, the ratio of the spray that I use is it's 70% rubbing alcohol, 50-50 of that and water. It's not 70 of alcohol and 30 of water. The strength of the alcohol is 70%. And so, anyway. Alright, now here comes the fun part. We're going to put where the eyebrows go. So you notice right here, there's a little bit of where the eyebrow is going to be. You can see that a little bit. So when I cut this off a little bit more, okay, we're going to, from here, right, from there, just like just like what we did down here, we're going to just arch it over. There's the eyebrow, okay? And the same thing over here. You kind of want to try to make them match. And I always say that's the hardest part. Yeah, some people have asked if I'm going to have a class here. No, I'm not going to have a live class at the farm. We're going to wait a while. Maybe next fall. At the rate we're going here. Yeah, let me see if I can push his nose over a little further. Okay. Now, this is where the V-tool comes in really, really handy, because I'm going to follow this with a V-tool. And this is the fun part for me. It's just doing all this. There's one eyebrow. And we'll do the other one. Alright, so those are, well, that eyebrow is really a lot higher. So we're going to just trim some of that off. Just go down a little further. There you go. You can always retrim it. Okay, so what I do with that is I kind of leave that there, and what I do is I just trim off above it, okay? I don't really round it off. I kind of just let it stick out. You can make it a little deeper than I just did. I probably will redo this a little bit later. But for the sake of the class, I'm just showing you, you know, whoops, there we go. So, and then you want to get rid of all these little edges, right, from the V tool. Kind of want to blend that in. There you go. So that's like one. There we go. I probably will not have a class on election night, okay? I think I'm going to forego that one on November the 3rd. So, okay, and again, you're going to take your knife and you're going to just trim all this stuff off. Okay, now, his hairline is kind of interesting. What you want to do is, his beard and his hairline kind of go all together there around the ear. So, we have this little corner here, so we're going to go from here, we're going to bring this down like so. And you're going to bring it down and around. And you're going to do the same thing over here. You're going to go down near the bottom here, and you're going to just go up like maybe 1/4 of an inch or so. And you notice it goes up and down, okay, or straight across, but I like it better this way, okay, where it goes down a little bit. So, alright, so there is where the beard is, and really, right here is where it changes. This comes down like this, right underneath the ear. This is part of the beard, okay? All we need to do is to come down this way. It kind of rounds this way, okay? I'm sorry, it's got to go the other way. I'm not thinking here. So you're arching it. You're arching it to the front. All right, so this is the hairline. And then we also have his hairline, and then you have his jacket. So we kind of go from the bottom of the ear across. All right, if I can figure that out. And then we go down again, and that's his trim of his coat, or his collar. So, from here, we're going to follow trim his head out here. I'm going to follow that line for the top of his bald head. Let me take a look at this back here, and then I can see how crooked I have it. Thank you very much. That's not good. That's got to go down a little further. We can take this down a little further. Alright, so we're going to go down a little further. That's not going to hurt it any, because we're going to trim that out anyway. Alright, we're going to follow this line all the way around with your V tool. You can do this with a knife if you have to. You just do a stop cut and, go from there. I might do the eyebrows a little deeper again. Alright. That doesn't look like anything yet, but it will. It will. And then we'll go across for his hairline. Now you want to be real careful that you don't slam your little V-tool into it. In other words, you're going to lose part of the ear. So you want to take it very carefully. Just take your time. I always have my thumb against it just to keep it from slipping. Alright, we're going to do this one. And then we'll do one more. Oh, this has to be the bottom part of the beard we're going to do as well. Alright. And that will be really distinct. I'll show you that in a second here. We'll do both sides. Alright, and we're going to bring this around. There we go. We still have to do his eyeballs. We're not done yet. From Malaysia. Hello there. Thanks for joining. That's quite a ways away. What time is it in Malaysia? I have no idea. So, we're going to start trimming everything out. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got to do the back part of the, oh, it's morning. Okay. Well, it's late here. It's about 8:30 maybe. I don't know. Started this at what time? Alright. So as far as I was saying about Halloween, there's plenty of carvers on YouTube that will do projects. So if you're looking for some, please go there and just do a search. Or even a Google search on it. You'll find some people doing Halloween projects. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do here, we're going to just bring this down a little bit, recut it in the back, and I'm just going to bring this up a little bit so it looks like the hair is kind of coming over it a little bit. And then we round it off. A lot of this type of carving, it's just getting rid of those really hard edges, smoothing things out. See how you don't see any areas in here that you can see that it's cut. It's just rounded very nicely, and for the most part, and that's what you're trying to get there. Okay, so it's not really that difficult. It just takes a little bit of time to go back and recut everything and make sure everything's nice and smooth. Okay, see how I have that kind of smoothed out a little bit? Then we'll do the same thing here, because the collar is on top of the coat. Again, we go from the bottom up, a little bit at an angle. There you go. And we'll do the eye in a little bit here. And then I'll start showing you. I've done an elf already, and I think I don't know if I sold it last year or not. I have to see where it is. I have an idea for the turkey and the pilgrim, so we're not the Thanksgiving yet down here, so we'll see what I can come up with that. All right, so, and right here, we're going to make this a little bit deeper, because I like that to really stick out pretty well. Hang on just a second. There we go. Again, we're going to get rid of those hard edges. And Jane, I didn't send that thing out yet to you. I will get that extra piece out to you that I forgot. Probably in the next couple of days here. So, we're going to do both sides here with the back part of the beard. No, I'm not a fan of, I don't like using those basswood eggs. I know a lot of people use those. I always did everything from one type of block and went from there, Daryl. I just don't, I know there's a lot of people that do a lot of carving, and there are books and probably videos on how to do that. So if you're not familiar with what Daryl's talking about, what he's talking about is these basswood eggs that is in the shape of an egg that they can turn into all kinds of different things. Um, they carve relief carvings on them, or they'll do different projects with them. Same thing as what I'm doing here, but in the size of an egg. It's almost the same kind of idea. But, alright, so see where the beard is coming out here. Alright, so this is his beard right here. And we're going to get rid of all those crazy spots here. And I'm going to round this off a little more on the bottom here. Alright. Just have that. Sometimes if you just curve it in more, see where I curved it in more, it just makes it stand out a little bit more. Makes it look a little more. Alright. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. I'm trying to hurry so you're not on the video for so long, but some things can't be hurried. Alright, so the head, the hair itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow this out one more time. Okay, we're going to follow this all the way down because the head's going to be below this hairline, right? So what we're going to do is we just did a stop cut, and we're just going to slowly go around it and cut into it a little bit, just like so. Kind of blend that in so it just doesn't look like you cut a line there. But that is a little bald head, it's sticking out a little bit. My father was always partially bald, as long as I could remember. He had a full head of hair when he was a young man, but then he lost it. And every spring he would get a nice tan because he'd be working outside. And we didn't pester him too much about it. He wouldn't be Dad without his bald head, really. I was so used to seeing him like that. Okay, see what I just did? There you go. See how that's sticking out? Now we're going to blend that hair right to that line. And, yep. Okay, see where we dug this out a little bit too much? I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit deeper right there where that meets. There we go. Now we're going to just, you kind of want to always blend things in if you can. You know, you don't want any harsh corners or like this here. What I mean by harsh corners is this right here. You always want to blend those in. Okay, so you're just going to cut that out. And, you know, I'll cut this a little further out. Let me see what his head looks like. I might have to trim a little bit more off the top here. Yeah, it looks alright. It's coming along. There you go. And I'd like to kind of have his head really nice and rounded. Alright. We're getting there. And right here, I'd like to make it a little bit deeper. Right beside the nose here. Just a little bit of a different cut. So I can put my magnifiers on here so I can see it a little bit better. There we go. That's better. I'll do this ear later on, but yeah. Now you can use a small, let me see if I can find it here, to do this ear. If you wanted to make a nice little hole in here, you could just kind of take your little and just go back and forth really carefully. You don't want to do it like a drill. You want to pull it out, push it back in, and then what I do is I take my knife to the front part and I kind of pop it out. So that makes it a little cleaner and neater, okay, than using a knife. But you can do it either way, all right, when you do the ear. Yeah, see if we can trim some of this off yet. That might just have to be a little bit deeper there. Not by much, but just taking off those real rough edges. Sometimes takes a while, especially if you don't have much to work with, like that just chipping out was not smart. So we compensate, go in a little deeper, that's alright. Same thing over here. Alright, so we have all this pretty well ready to go. Let's see if I can finish off the cheeks a little bit. Let me just do it here. It's so much easier if I can just get it closer to my face. There we go. Just taking the hard, rough edges off. Alright, there we go. So you see how far we've come already with it. Now we're going to do his beard the same way. We're going to just kind of trim that off. We're going to give him a couple of nostrils too. I don't know if we've done that in the past, but we're going to give him a little bit of a nose job here. A second here. Okay. We've had a lot of rain here the last couple of days. That's certainly not helping my septic system very much for my house. That needs to be replaced. So, let's see here. Okay. So that's kind of the nose. I see it's a little chopped up there. Let's see if we can chop that over. There we go. One part of the nose looks a little different than the other, so I'm trying to match that up a little bit more. Alright, so when you do a nostril, I usually use my little gouge again, and I only do a half a circle. So when I do it, it's very, very slow. Okay? There's one. There's two, and then I go back and I clean it up again and go up a little higher. I'll take my knife and clean it out. You don't want to scoop it in from this way, because if you do, from the mustache, you might nick into the beard. So you don't want to do that. You just want to make your cuts as you can, okay, and a little bit with some depth to it, and then go back with a knife and clean out his nose. We could just let it hang there, but I don't think we'll do that. It was a cold night. Okay, so that's pretty well what we want. Alright, so there's the nose. Let me see if I can... Okay, what is wrong with that nose? Here we go. Let me just do a little cleanup here, just to help me out a little bit, so I can keep going here. Okay. Alright, so you can put a little bit of a nostril in. You can fuss with that later to make it a little bit wider. I see that side's a little wider, so I can go up a little further here and dig out a little bit more. And pop that out. Okay, so that's how you do the nostrils and the ears. Let me hurry up and do an eyeball or two for you. So the eyeballs are, remember I said I like them big, so we're going to kind of make them big. I see I'm a little bit deeper on this side, so I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. There we go. There you go. Now you can use a V-tool, but I like to use a knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my knife and I'm going to follow that line all the way up to his eyebrow there. Okay. And then I'm going to cut it from the top. And there we go. Remember, when we do an eye, it's good to do this corner with a little triangle cut. That makes the eyeball look more round. Okay? See that? When you cut that out a little bit, and just kind of, this isn't deep enough at the top, you kind of just do another little cut. There's one eye. And we'll do the other eye. Okay? We're going to take it, and you're going to just take it around. And you're going to follow it from the top down. All right. Now we're going to clean that out a little bit. See this hard edge here? We're just going to trim that off. Just like so. There you go. Same thing over here. Okay, one more swig of my hot chocolate. Cold chocolate milk now. Okay, there's the eyes. Now, I know this needs a lot of cleanup. I'll probably do that when I get off the line here. But the rest of this, really, folks, is just putting your lines on. So the beard and the mustache, let me just clean this up real quick. Yeah, they need to be cleaned up. All that hard stuff has to come off of it. Oh, I forgot one thing here before we start all that stuff. I can show it to you here. We need to put a lip in here. So you can either do it two ways. I'm just going to use my knife, something a little different, just at an angle. And I'm going to just go around. And I'm just going to do a little V-cut with my knife here for his mouth. And there we go. All right. That's all that entails. Any other questions, folks? Feel free to ask. I'll try to catch it as you bring them up. Again, I do have these blocks ready to go. I just got a bunch of new wood in this past week, so, or part of last week. So I'm going to try to trim all that off. That's got to be trimmed off a little bit, but that can be done later. All right, let's see. All right, let's start working on getting some of this stuff marked. All right, so you're going to use this guy a lot, your little V tool. All right, see how this part is, these all go down at an angle. Well, that one went for an angle, that one did not. Well, sort of. Anyway, we're going to do this guy. All right, believe me, I'm going to try to clean it up a lot when I get off of here. But I just want to show you how this is done so you can finish it up on your own. So this goes down, and what I usually do is use little V cuts down to the bottom, up to the top. Now, you don't want to do that, what I just did there, because then you'll have to go back and you'll have to cut it off. There you go. It's always a way of fixing it, okay? So you just want to go up here and you just want to slowly and you want to work your way down. Okay, so that's one. Whoops, it's got to go all the way to the top. And this is very lightly done. It's not very heavily done. I don't go in really super deep. I usually always work towards the edge. And then from the edge, let me clean this up a little bit. I'm not happy with that. Then when you go from the edge, then you do the center. And the center usually turns out, you know, will blend it. I'm sorry, I don't tell people where I get my basswood from. You can look online. There's a few people that do sell it, but my supplier, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't give that out. Anyway, all right. So now I'm going to go to the mustache. All right. So we're going to go up first. And we're going to swing this around. I know other people have asked that, but, you know, I try to sell it to make a little bit of money off of it. And, all right. So I do the top part first. Bottom part next. I'm not trying to be rude, not telling you where it's at, but... Alright, so I got the top and the bottom done. And we'll mix this together. We'll kind of go the same flow. Alright? Took me a while to find a supplier that I could trust, giving me the right stuff each and every time. And at a fairly decent, you know, decent amount. I just got 2 boxes of the stuff in, so anyway, there you go. Okay, there's the mustache. All right. It's coming. All right, now the beard and the head. Let me clean that up a little bit more. Okay, I got all the... I'm trying to get all that rough stuff off. Otherwise, it's going to show up when you paint. And I will paint this and probably put it for sale a little bit later. But I'll try to get a video of this, all these as well on DVD eventually. All the projects I've gotten done. I got the oh, what do you call it? The nativity set online on DVD, but I haven't done any of the other projects we've done together here. So let me just clean this up more. If you're interested in the V tool, I do have that. You can just go to my online store and order any of that. Okay. Well, that's the other thing I do. I usually undercut a little bit on the ear so it looks a little bit right at the top there. I usually undercut a little bit. Alright, so the way I do this is I always refer to one of my old pieces here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fan this out, okay, and then it goes, how can I explain this? This way, this way, this way, and then it goes down that way, alright? at an angle. So the first thing we do is we're going to go right next to the face here, very carefully. There we go. And we're just going to keep going, fanning it out. That's what we're doing. We're fanning it out. All right. Very carefully with the lip area here. You want to be very careful with that. And then you're going to fan it out the other way. So it's like a sunburst, right? That's, well, thank you, Nina. Yes, I try to get the best stuff out for people. And we'll fan this out a little bit more. See how we have this? It's all fanned out. Okay? So, right here, we're going to go towards the ear. And we're going to keep going. A little bit longer strokes. And then we're going to go back here and do it near the edge behind the beard. Right? In the same direction. All right. You notice I have my hand on the piece, so it's not going to be crazy all over the place when you do this. Sometimes crisscrossing is good. Alright, so that's how the beard will look like when you get it done there. So, let's keep going. We don't have too much more to do yet. Alright, same thing over here. Now we have this side done. When we get over here, you're going to go back here, the same angle, okay? You're going to do the back side first. Well, if it doesn't come out clean, sometimes you have to go back with a knife. But for the most part, you know, you can usually get it. You want to be careful with that ear. You don't want to hit that ear off. That's the only one thing with this one. You don't want to drop anytime soon. You mean this bottom part? No, I don't cut that off. I don't cut off the bandsaw. Now, sometimes you will have to if you want to sign it, but that's pretty smooth yet that I can sign it when it's done. Okay, so now we're getting this portion done. I know this is not as accurate as I would like it to be, but like I said, I'm trying to save time here. Right around that corner. There we go. Alright, so we kind of have the front completely done. If I can get the chips out of his eyes there, it would be very helpful. Let me move that out of the way. There we go. So the front's pretty well done. Now we're going to go to the back side. Alright, we're going to go to the back side. And I still see there's... Alright, there's all the rough stuff is pretty well off. And alright. And here I'll do this later because now I've been before it. Yeah. My use for it is pretty simple. It's going to be white, black, And you want all this rough stuff off the head for sure. Otherwise, that's going to look awful when you go to paint it. It will all look like a fuzzy head that he's trying to get hair there. All right. So once you start painting it, all I use is I'll explain that in a second. All right. So we have this right here. Now we were working right next to the ear here. So I'm just going to go up here and do a little bit in the same direction. This is his hairline now. Okay, we're just going to keep going. Just keep going. There we go. It doesn't take long to put this texturing in with the, and now I'm going to go the opposite direction. All right. Just kind of, and some are going to be deeper, some of them are going to be smaller, you know, smaller strokes. All right, so what we're going to do here, we're going to kind of go in the same direction. We'll do 1/2 first. It'll be easier to do it that way. And you want to be really careful around that ear. All right. Now we're going to work on the other side. And we actually only have one little thing to do yet. But we'll keep going. Well, we'll see what this is going to be. Really a very strange holiday time with a lot of things closed and not opened up for our craft stuff. I'll keep you posted on how I'm going to do it here at the farm here. But if anybody knows me, I always have an idea for something. Okay, so that's kind of how his hair goes. And then we'll do a little bit on his other section here. Alright, so there we go. We're getting there. What's wrong with his eyeball there? I don't like that. Oh, I'm going to be fussing with this thing for a while when we get off of here. Just cleaning up stuff and, you know, taking some of this fuzzy stuff off and things like that. So, that's what carvers do. They fuss with it. And so we're gonna, now that was his hair, right, on the back. Alright, so we're just gonna do the little bit of the brim part of his collar. And this is the end of it. Nothing much new around here otherwise. You know, I've been busy on the tractor. I have a few things in the tractor that has to be repaired. Those of you that are farmers know that the PTO is leaking, so I need to get that fixed before I can use the bush hog and stuff again. But I'll get that done sometime this winter, but I will need it to plow if we have snow this year. We didn't get much last year, thank God we didn't get a lot. I don't know about this year, what they're claiming we're supposed to get, but we'll see. It may not be that bad. But I think we're due for a year of snowy weather. I remember one year we had more than Canada. I kept telling the people in Canada, come down here and get your snow. You left it here. So, okay. We're done. So, I keep going back and taking little pieces out here and there out of his nose. Alright. Well, there you go. Let me see if I can just pop this up a little bit. There we go. There we go. So that is what it looks like. Now his head's a little thinner. You can always make his head a little bit more of a cone shape. But these are really fun to do. Now how we paint them is really simple. You know, of course you do the white, and the red. Alright. And then you get a flesh tone. And when you get the flesh tone, you do the head, of course, the back of the head and the ears, and the nose and the face. And after you do that, you take a little bit of the red from down here. Thank you, Jack. When you take a little bit of the red, mix it in with this flesh and do his nose and his cheeks. And then bring it up, like blend it in, and then get some more of this flesh stuff on the top again and blend the two together. So you don't have just a line of red going across. So when you paint it, it gives it that rosy cheek look to it. But yeah, that's how I make these bald-headed Santas. They've been very popular in the past. I also have them in the sitting series. I think I did one like that. I don't remember. I have to see. I've done so many DVDs, I don't remember which ones I've done now. But painting them is not difficult. And you know, once you get into how to do the ears aren't difficult either. I need to tweak this again a little bit more and clean it up. It was because the wood was a little bit hard. But if you have those little gouges, they come in real handy, and the V-tool comes in really handy. So if you need any of those, I do have plenty of those on hand. I don't have many of the little rounded things. I maybe have 5 or 6 more of these left over, but I have plenty of the V-tools. I ordered quite a bit of that in the past. So, and they look so different when you get them painted. You know, they just come to life when you paint them. All right, so we'll see what we'll come up with next week. I have an idea. I always have an idea, but we'll see if I can get one done before then and see how it will work out. All right, guys, thanks for joining me here on the Carver's Woodshop. I hope you enjoyed your evening, and stay safe, and we'll catch you next time around. Bye-bye.